Hi, it's Brian, and today we're doing something a little different. No state parks. We're actually at a park just a few miles away from our home on a cold day, but I think we're gonna do a little something different today. So come along. So the last video I made was New Year's Day, beginning of January, and we are about halfway through the month of January now, and I still haven't made a video. The weather's been kind of crazy and a lot of time at work, but today I thought we'd do something different. Kind of like a 2025 year in review, plus what I'm looking forward to in 2026. So let's walk a little trail, talk about it, and have some fun. Let's go. What's cool about this park and this trail that we're doing is actually this is where I filmed my very first video on YouTube at. It's a little different section of the trail. But yeah, this is the spot where my very first video was. I'll link that and you can see, you know, humble beginnings. So check it out. But yeah, let's talk about 2025. So I've not talked about this before, I don't think, but I'm actually a kidney transplant recipient. And 1 year ago, I was in the hospital at the beginning of the year, 2025, because my kidney transplant that I got back 10 years ago failed on me. So I spent pretty much the whole month of January in the hospital and getting ready to go back on dialysis. So that was like the start of my year. You know, what a way to ring in the new year, laying in a hospital bed and wondering where to go from here. It was scary, it really was. Oh. So February of last year was when I started dialysis for the second time. So I was kind of used to, I remembered how I did it before, but still it was daunting going through all that stuff again, wondering how I'm gonna, you know, pay the bills, go to work with all this stuff, you know. It was a kind of dialysis that you could do at home overnight, you know, but still it was taxing on your body. And I went through, so many months where like I would have cramps in my hands, and I work with my hands, or I would just feel so fatigued and just so tired all the time. It was rough. Kidney disease and dialysis is something. It really is. But I made it through, and we still experienced some good times. So in between all the doctor's visits and blood work getting done constantly, me and Gina still found time to go explore and do things. Like for instance, in April for my birthday, we went down to Raleigh, North Carolina and saw my hockey team, the Hurricanes, play at a home game. That was really cool. I'd never done that before. And then May, around Memorial Day, is when me and Gina started our trail quest. We went down to like the middle of Virginia and did, I think, 4, 5, 6 state parks, and we stayed in Appomattox and just had a really good time. So it was important for us to still make time to travel, even though I was dealing with this whole kidney thing and dialysis. So that's kind of when we started with the idea of state parks are going to be like our getaway and really fun time. And like over the summer was pretty rough because since I work in HVAC, you know, I had to deal with like hopping in attics and being outside all the time. So having to stay hydrated was really, really hard. And dialysis was just taking kind of a toll on me. You know, it was every night, it was like you get in a schedule and it was just rough on the mind. It's hard to stay positive. So me and Gina just found that, like I said, getting out to these state parks, being outdoors was doing wonders for both me and her going through this together. So that's why I kind of started doing the outside thing, being outdoors, doing these trails, even if it's just like local parks and stuff like that. We didn't start very big. So, I mean, yeah, that was probably the hardest part was the summer, but you know, everything gets better with time. You know, plenty to look forward to. One thing about trails and parks in the winter is that the birds aren't scared of the cold. So we just passed a part and Gina was taking pictures of a bunch of cardinals, like more than I've ever seen ever in one place. So we were having fun, kind of a little bit of bird watching with the cardinals and stuff like that. And Tucker, our dog, was just going crazy. And then around September for Gina's birthday, we went to a little town called Wardensville in West Virginia. And if there's one thing about Gina, she's an Airbnb girl. So if we travel, if we go anywhere, you know, decent away from home, we get an Airbnb, and we've had a very, very cool experience in a few Airbnbs, but this one was near the George Washington National Forest. So it was like out in the middle of nowhere. It was really cool. In the small town Wardensville, we just kind of fell in love with, and we learned that, you know, we like to travel a little bit and stay in these Airbnbs and just have a good time somewhere new. And at the end of September, or middle September, me and Gina moved in together. So she had been living in Maryland, and I was living in a little farther down in Northern Virginia. And we would have to see each other, you know, an hour drive away. That's how we did our first whole year and a half of relationship. So we moved in together. We got an apartment. And at the end of September, I proposed to her in Shenandoah National Park. And that was amazing, lovely. It was on the same trail where we had one of our dates, and it was just a magical. We had the overlook to ourselves, and it was just a great, great experience. And I think she knew it was coming. And then in October, I want to say second week of October, I got a call one early morning before I had to work that they had a possible kidney for me. So we had to rush to the hospital and kind of get more blood tests drawn and talk to a doctor and see, you know, if this particular kidney was right for me. And on October 18th is when I got my second kidney transplant. And I was in the hospital for maybe 3 or 4 days or something like that while they were making sure all the meds were working, kidney was stable, and I was able to make urine and all this stuff. Because when you're on dialysis, fun fact, sometimes you don't make urine. You don't have to go. So had to make sure everything worked, and it did, and they sent me home, and I was out of work for 6 weeks recovering, you know, major surgery, all that stuff. And that was probably the hardest part of our year, was figuring out how we're gonna afford this apartment we just got into, because Gina was working and she was basically shouldering all the responsibilities and stuff while I couldn't work. But we made it through, you know, we figured it out. And I went back to work in December 1st is when I started again. And I would say from about the end of summer to December, I had been looking for another job because I wasn't quite happy with where I was. Wanted something new, something bigger, something better. And so after 1 week of being back at work, I did find a new job. And so I started a new job about mid-December, and that's where I'm at now. And it has been amazing. Really, really good experience. And Gina herself also got a new job. So we've kind of like transitioned 2005 into 2026, already starting something new. And I think that's been really good for both of us, you know, out with the old, in with the new, fresh start beginning of the year. And in those 6 weeks where I was out of work and still recovering and getting better kind of every day, I had the brilliant thought of starting a YouTube channel. So that's what I did. When I was able to, you know, get out and walk for the first time, that was my first video at this park. That's what I did. And I didn't talk a whole lot during it. And I think it was only like 3-4 minutes long or something like that, but it was a start. And I found out that I really, really liked it. You know, this idea where I get to be outside, walking trails, you know, experiencing the outdoors. It was fun. It was really cool. And telling a story is a really cool way to kind of get whatever you're going through out. And then once I was getting my strength back and kind of resuming our trail quest, I had the great idea to do it like while I was hiking, you know, get my thoughts out, experience the outdoors for the first time in these trails, and just enjoy being outside and filming that journey along the way. So that kind of leads me into, you know, what I want for 2026. New year, new resolution, if you're into that, or just new ideas and new opportunities to have fun and do cool new things. Yeah, 2025 was pretty brutal for old Brian here. It was a rough year, probably one of the hardest I've had. But the important thing is I got through it. You get through it with support from family, friends, and a lovely fiance. You get through it by staying positive and just trusting the process. You know, even though I was down in the dumps, like, why is this happening to me? I knew I was gonna get better, just had to trust it. Just had to do what the doctor says and all that stuff. And we made it through 2025 and 2026, brand new, starting new things. I guess that kind of brings me into 2026 and like what I want to accomplish for myself, for YouTube, you know, life goals, fun goals, stuff that I want to do and experience. One of my first goals that I want to work for in this year is to get into backpacking. When I was down and out and recovering, I was watching a lot of videos on backpacking. I'm like, that's so cool. I love the outdoors. I want to get out there and stay out there, like in the backcountry of like national parks or, you know, camping. Me and Gina, we've done camping. I've camped, you know, primitive camping, you know, out of a car or whatever. But I want to backpack, get into the woods, carry all the stuff you need with you, in, spend the night out kind of thing, or even longer than that. But that's one thing I really want to do. I want to look forward to that. Such a cool thing. The second goal for this year is pretty much already set in stone. Me and Gina are getting married in May. So that's just a big thing for us. And we're getting married in Shenandoah National Park here in Virginia, where we had some of our first dates, where I proposed to her, all this stuff that means a lot to us. It's gonna be a magical day. But yeah, getting married, wow. And I'll be 33 this year, so it's just kind of a whole whirlwind of stuff going on, but that is one thing that is super important to both of us. Absolutely. My third goal for 2026 is to finish the Virginia State Parks Trail Quest. I'm almost halfway there. I'm at 19 going on 20. I think there's 44, 45 parks that participate in the Trail Quest. So to finish out this year, doing all of them, traveling the whole state of Virginia and all the beautiful parks that it has to offer, that would be a really cool goal of mine. Feel really awesome to hike a trail in every single one, just experience the beauty and variety of Virginia state parks. We've already loved all the ones we've already done, and even the best are yet to come. All the Southern Virginia ones, oh man, I hear such great things. I'm so excited for that. I would say my fourth goal for me and this channel is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You know, grow the channel, make more videos, interact with a lot more people. You know, spread the word, have fun, inspire people to go outdoors. That's kind of what I want to do. So if you could spread the word, subscribe, like, all that stuff, that would help me out a little bit, achieve some goals here. But yeah, I want to get out there. I want to explore more and document it all on the channel. Get to 1,000 subscribers. That'd be cool enough for me, for sure. I would say for goal number 5 is probably, for me personally, it's just be better. Be a better human. Be a better fiance, husband. Be a better coworker. You know, just be a better person in general. There's a lot to worry about: bills, money. Everything's more expensive now, and that could stress people out. And I think that the whole world could use a little bit more kindness. So I think goal 5 for me is to kind of focus on that and be nicer to people. Be patient with people. Oh my gosh, that's something I got to work on. Just be a better human being. I think that's important. And only I can hold myself accountable for that. So let's see how that goes. And being outdoors is going to help. Oh my gosh, you know, I relax, I reflect when I'm outdoors. It's just the best place to do it is out in the quiet. You know, no one else around, you and your thoughts. That's the way to do it. So reflect, kind of think about everything and move on from there. So yeah, goal 5, just be better. Be better at everything I do. New, old, all that stuff. Move forward. Actually, here's one more thing that I forgot, and I guess this kind of goes along with the backpacking, but another goal for me would be to do longer trails. Most of the trails I've done around here and in the state parks and for this channel have been fairly short, like max 3.5 miles. I want to start doing like really long ones, going to places I've never been, seeing cool stuff, longer trails, mountaintops, summits, stuff like that. So that'd be an extra goal for me. So that's it. That's my recap of 2025. Rough year. Into 2026, my goals and everything. Looking forward. That's the main thing. I want to look forward and be positive about that. So thanks for following along. Thanks for listening to me babble about, you know, myself. And hopefully we can get those goals done, and I'll keep you updated on the channel. It'd be really cool to kind of hold me accountable here. yeah, new year, new opportunities to be better, have more fun, travel, all that stuff for me. So go outdoors, have fun, take care of yourself, like, subscribe, follow along, and let's go outside and do more things. It's better for everybody. See you later, guys.